For this design, we're going to work with the black and white, and we're going to create the composition over 2 nails. So that will be, let's say, our middle finger, and let's say here will be our ring finger. Of course, you can choose which fingers you want to do, but our aim will be when these two will be stick together, they will look like a one part of the design. So my first part of my design is going to be create a little bit floral like look somewhere here, and we're going to add a little shading later just to make it a little bit more interesting. So let's say this will be roughly when my design will start and finish, and then I'm going to add some petals in here as well with some shading, maybe something under, and then just to fill up these spots, if I see maybe I'll have a little bit of space, I can add something here. I'm just going to add some lines with a little extra like a dots in here just to add a little extra to my design, but that will be later. And here at the same level I will have my starter for the second part, and here you can repeat the same design as you have here, or you can just add something a little bit different. We're going to use the same technique so we still look like a one. The amount of leaves or petal will depend on the size of your nail. So what I'm normally doing, I'm just making my main part and then I'm eventually adding, because if you have the nail that is really short and really small and these petals are relatively big, you may be able to fit just the one leaf. So try to make your first main design first, and then you can add things if you want to, or if you have space to it. And we're going to start with the black over the background and then add some details. So we're going to start with the black and the main leaves on 2 nails at the same time. This is how we're going to work, and this is what we will do on our client's finger. We will work on 2 at the same time, cure it, and then another hand, then 2, cure it, and then another hand, and this is how we will work in the composition of 2, so they will all make sense and they will be all looking as a one design. To create our design, we will need the liner gel, the painting gel black, a little bit on our paper palette. You will also need the white as well. If you want to, you can of course create this in any other color. I just want to make it nice and simple, contrasted 2 colors, and then my white. Just a tiny amount really of the product you will need for this design is literally 0 use of your product, is more technical. And then of course we will need something like a basin top for you, or maybe thin top gel, just to use mix our product together. And then you will need the tailor number 3. This is the round brush that I'm using, something like that, nice and round. So this is the brush that I'm normally using for most of my designs. We're going to use this one, and I will also use the tailor brush, blush brush, or you can use any detailer brush of your choice. So my first thing, what I'm going to start off will be the black gel polish, black gel, and I'm going to pick up a little bit of the black, and I'm going to add clear just to make it semi-transparent. And my aim is to have it black enough to be still visible, especially if you want to use a little bit darker background, but at the same time I need to have enough transparency to see the strokes. So what I'm going to do for this design, I'm going to pick up a little bit of the product and I'm going to place it first on my paper palette, just flat, and then I can see if I'm able to create the lines with the outline, with the black outline. And I think this one will be perfect. So you can see I'm just placing a little bit here, pressing my brush, pressing it and lifting it up, and I can create my petal, which is black and is visible. At the same time, I have a little bit of the line work and a little bit of the texture visible. So no pure black. at the same time cannot be too transparent, because then everything will just blend together. So I want to have this really nice lines that I can create with my black. You can add a little bit more if you want to have it a little bit darker. For example, you want to have this one part a little bit darker, you can add it as well. So play around with your product so you can create texture petal like this one. So I have my 2 tips, and I'm going to work with 2 tips at the same time, and then I'm going to cure it, and then I can add a little bit more later. So first thing first, I'm going to make a dot on both of them. So this will be my middle part. My background is the Provence pink from the autumn collection of the gel polish with a little bit gold flakes top gel. So this will be really nice as a background. Of course, it's not necessary. So first I'm going to start with my back petal, and I'm pressing this a little bit more so I can then create a little bit more line work. I can see it's a little bit too dark for me, but that's okay. I will spread this product around and make it a little bit lighter. So you really want to see the lines in here. So this is my first one. I'm going to add a little bit of clear here into this mix, and I'm going to add another petal in here. So first I'm doing the background for my back petals, nice and transparent, and I'm going to do the same on my other finger. And then when I finish my first one, this one will go to the light, and then this one will then later will be, I will just turn it, cured, and then my second hand will be done before I will just add another layer. So this is it. Maybe I will just add a few leaves right away in here. There will be one in here and maybe one in here. So you can do it later, you can do it right away if you have already some kind of idea how your design is going to look. But if you have something that you've seen before and you have the example and this is the choice of your client, just keep it in front of you, so then you can look at the layers, and then will be easier for you to create a design. So this one be here, and I'll just add one more leaf in there, and this one goes to the light before my second layer. So my first layer is cured, and now I'm going to create my second petals. Again, I can mix a little bit of color if I don't have enough, or to make it lighter or darker. And first I'm going to make some petals on top of my first one as my second layer. That will be the one, and then another one. And I will finish and in my middle point, and then I can of course add a little bit more. Now I can see I have plenty of space, I can add more into it, is no problem. Then maybe just add a little bit more in here as well. So this one will go to the light, and then after that I'm going to add a little bit more black, just to add a little bit darker lines, just to give it a little bit more texture, and some line work before the white. Now what I want to add to my layer of the black layer looks a little bit gloomy, a little bit gray, without any specific amount of product. It's just grayish. So I'm going to add a little bit more black into my mix. First I need to clear as well, because there was not enough product. A little bit more black. So I'll just give it a little bit more color, a little bit more contrast. And I'm going to go over some of the petals and just on the one side, just to add a little bit extra color and a little bit more dimension. So a little bit more black into this one. It's too much. To clean my brush, just to add a little bit more of the line work, just a little extra to my leaves, a little bit more dimension and color as well, because I really don't like when the things are too gray. You know, the gray is not my favorite thing. To add a little bit more, and you see this leaves, they're looking a little bit more interesting. I'm adding the extra line work into it. A little bit more shape. And of course this other one as well needs to be added. So I'm pressing my brush in, so my brush is not flat completely. Playing around with my brush, and here as well, just to add a little bit more. I'm pressing my brush and then lifting it up. To add a little more, and in here as well, just to make these leaves a little bit more interesting, so they're not just gray. So a little bit of black into it, and once we add a little bit of line work and tiny bit of the white, they will look even nicer. So just in here, just to add a little bit shading. I'm doing all black before white, so the white will be at the very end, my little extra. I'll put aside this one so I can focus on the one finger only. And what I'm going to do, I'm not curing this. What is it here? I'm just cleaning my detailer brush, and I will just place my brush in my mixture of the clear and black, so I have it really thin, not working with just the black. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to add a little line work. So just pick up a little bit of black. I'll start with the dot and then taking this to my middle part, just like that. So my line is not completely black, it's a little bit transparent. And I will also connect the middle part of the leaves as well in here, just in here, so they'll be all connected into my middle part of this design, but it's not too black, so the lines are still part of my leaves, the lines are still part of the design, they're not like completely separated. And I'll just add a few more in here. So you see they are semi-transparent, they're not completely black. I think that makes them a little bit lighter. And when we do normally design maybe with the black and want to have specific lines, then yes, okay. But in this case, I think they're looking nice. And I'm just adding a little bit more black into my petals on the top, just to make them a little bit more sharper. And this one, this is it. I'm happy with this one. Do not overdo it, although we're still adding a little bit of white. I think it's easy to overdo it, so be careful. Going to add a few in the middle as well. So I'm starting up with the dot, just creating the dot and then pulling the rest. And I need to also create some connection for these leaves as well. So I'm doing this with the wet black that I had before, not too much of the curing in here, just to make sure everything is nicely connected. It has to be a little bit more organic, do not try too much. I know it's not easy on the beginning when you do it first time, designs like this one, because you want to follow what's in the picture, but I'm telling you, it's not always necessary to follow. Sometimes you just need to fill the gaps and you'll be fine. So these two, as they are now, they go into the light for just 30 seconds, and then we'll continue with the white. For the details with the white, we're going to add just the tiny details to our design. So we need to make sure we do not overdo it with the product. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to pick up a little bit of white. I still have the tailor number 3 and the clear. So I'm just going to mix it. And what I'm doing next, I will just clean my brush, make sure there's no product on it. I will make sure maybe one more time, you see, there was some gray in it as well. We don't want that. Make sure everything is nice and clean. I'm cleaning my brush. And then when I have my design, I'm going to start with the, let's say this is my middle finger. My brush with the clean. I'm going to pick up a little bit of the mixture. And again, you see how tiny amount of the product this is. And I'm going to go over and I'm touching my line, and I can see I already have too much. So it has to be really literally nothing. Touching my design, and I'm just going to paint a little line and just to add a little shading to my design, just like that. And I'm going to touch with my brush the other side. Just going to make like a little opening in here. Going to add extra line in here later with the tailor, but you see the amount of product is literally nothing, is nothing at all. So I'm working just with the tip of my brush, keeping my brush flat, just to create a little shading. And then on the leaves as well, not too much. We want to still keep our design and the black really visible and the line work that we've created before visible. So we cannot really cover everything with the white. We need to be careful. And you see, again, I touch first. I can see I've got too much of the white. I will clean my brush and then I will pull the product down to whatever it is. So the white is the same as the black. Extremely pigmented product. So if you want to do any type of shading like this one and you're not sure, always make sure you clean your brush, then touch the surface, and then you will see right away how much product you have, because you can easily cover your full design with the white, and then whatever you've created with the black will be just gray. So this one goes to the light before we'll add extra line work. Now we came back with the light, and I still have the other tip to add a little extra. Again, you see I have a little bit too much. The tip can be just pre-cured on your nail, just pre-cured on your client's nail, so you can work one at the time, or you can do both of it. But when you have really detailed work and you want to stay in place, maybe you'll be like, okay, I want to cure it. I don't want to ruin this. I want to make sure everything is perfect. And you see, I'm touching my brush all the time on my paper palette. Make sure it's clean. And I really have tiny amount of product. With this tiny amount of product, I can really add the extra details and sharpness to my design without overtaking the full thing. So here I'll just add a little extra in here, just tiny bit into my leaves, not too much. So I didn't create anything with the white by itself. I'm just adding a little extra. Here I'll pick up another tip, and then let's do some line work. With the line work, I'm going to do exactly the same as what I did with the black. So I'm going to use my mixture of the white and the clear, but of course wasn't enough, so we need to mix it one more time so it will be nice and thin. You don't want to have it too thick again, so not to have it too white. And I will maybe go over some of the borders of my petals just to make it maybe more separation in between the petals, just like that. Not too much, just really work with the tip of your brush, this tiny one hair that you have at the tip. This is something that you really need, and then maybe I'll just here create a little bending, separation between the petals. See, just a tiny amount of product, and even mix with the clear, the product is still extremely pigmented. And here just add it a little bit more. So here our little abstract petals, we can add more dimension and definition into our other leaves as well. We can also add a little white for our black. If we feel maybe that is a little bit too dark, you want to add a little extra, is fine, a little line work. But you see, everything I do is just really, really light. I don't want to overtake my design. I want to maybe eventually add a little extra. The white should work as a highlight. We don't want to take over. And I'll have another tip, the second tip going to do as well. So again, maybe I have some of the details, maybe I want to add a little bit more here, just to separate my petals from this a little bit abstract plant. I can't even call it with anything specific, but I really like these designs. They're nice and easy, a little bit leafy, floral, really light, and I think it's nice to use it. I'll just use my glove, don't like this tip in here. For the autumn nails in the salon, because you can add a little nice muted background, any colors from your autumn collection, and then just to add a little extra to it. So these two are going to the light for just 10 seconds, and I'm going to add a few more details with my black. Okay, so that's my design is nearly finished. I just got a little bit not enough line work. I have some leaves that are disconnected, that nothing is happening, like for example this one. So I'm just adding a little extra black to it. But I will also add, what I will do, I will use my dotting tool, my small dotting tool, and I'm going to add a few more lines, dots, sorry, into my lines, so they will be a little bit more interesting. You can use a brush if you fancy, but you can use your dotting tool just to make it perfectly circle. Any dotting tool of your choice. I think that will look nice. And here maybe one at the tip, and then one in here, just a connection, and I'll do exactly the same in my other one. 1 and 2, and here 1, and here as well. So they'll be just looking much nicer. This one needs to go to the light for 10 to 30 seconds, and then we'll finish with the top gel. Let's finish it with the top gel. Top gel of your choice, can be glossy, can be matte. It's really up to you. The design is relatively thin, so you can go over with your normal top gel right away. You can see this one didn't cure perfect, but that's all right. Might be my light is not curing in the shop. I need to check it. This is it. Need to clean this one. Okay, that's all right. That's our end result. This one needs to be cured 60 seconds, and we'll end with our design. And here our end result with the Provence pink, and I will also have the Normandy green in here. So you see both of designs, they're literally the same, but because of course the petals every time are just slightly different because we move in our hands a little bit differently, and of course the background is different. Here we have a little bit of gold on our Provence, here is just a green. You can make two different designs for your clients. Of course the petals will always differ depending on the size of the client's nails, maybe just a day, and your mixture with the black. I hope you like this design and you're going to repeat it as well on different background colors. Try it as well, so then your clients will see much difference. Have fun.